Hello, everyone. We are back again with our exclusive SVAR talk show. I am Amit Sharma. Welcome you all today. And today we have with us Mr. Ajoy Chawla. Welcome, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks, Amit. Hi to everybody and happy to be here.
Great, sir. So, how does it feel to be a CEO of such a successful and a beautiful brand?
I think it's both a privilege and an honor to
Mm-hmm,
serve as a CEO of this beautiful brand and the division of a company which has done so very well.
mm-hmm,
Uh, the brand has been built over decades of hard work
mm-hmm.
by so many different people and leaders who have led it. And I
Right.
have been the helm of affairs only since the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, certainly both privileged, honored, and proud to be part of this team.
Lovely. So, when it comes to creativity and craftsmanship, are they prominent point of Tanishq jewelry designs? And how do you always maintain your prowess in excellence?
So we are while we are a retailer,
Mhm.
as people know us, we actually are a manufacturer at heart. Let me clarify. We started life as a watch company by
Mhm.
setting up a plant before we sold a single watch.
Mhm.
So we invested in technology, we invested in design, and
Right.
therefore the entire product creation. In the value creation.
Mhm.
Retail we got into quite accidentally because we realized that watches, the retail outlets were not good.
Right.
However, when we launched jewelry, we started off with retail
Mhm.
along with the manufacturing for jewelry as well.
Mhm.
And there's a difference between a product brand and a retail brand. A product brand tends to start with the product. They look at the design, they look at a neat state, white spaces, and get
Right.
into.
Right.
Retail brands and they can go anywhere, across the country. Whereas a retail brand can essentially has to make its living in the catchment area it is part of, whatever the catchment area is in whichever category.
Right.
So retail brand tends to be more merchandise and category focused, whereas a product brand tends to be much more
Mhm.
product design, sharpness focused. So we have it in our DNA to build product brands
Right.
which happen to be sold through many retail outlets.
Mhm.
And therefore, we invest heavily in design. We have an entire design excellence center which looks at trends, trend spotting, international,
All right.
beyond jewelry,
Mhm.
from the world of fashion, style, home. And then
Right.
we look at what are the jewelry trends internationally or in India. So there's a lot of work that goes in.
Mhm.
Separately, there's a lot of consumer segmentation that happens. So
Mhm.
this is about trends, design trends, and the other is about customer segments and what's happening to each of those consumers.
Right.
What are the trends in their life?
Mhm.
You know, what are the younger people thinking? What are the people who are our target audience thinking? Or what are the been there, done that, accomplished people thinking? And how are they behaving?
Right.
On top of it, we get a lot of inspiration also from what's happening in different markets. So our designers actually travel uh,
Okay.
not just to international trade fairs or GG or IAGS or all the other fairs
Mhm.
here or in Hong Kong or in Vegas or in Shenzhen, but
Right.
also they travel into markets.
Mhm.
You have to travel to a West Bengal to understand what happens there, or
Exactly.
Tamil Nadu, or
Right.
and that adds on. So this is how the design ethos is center, which is jewelry, watches, eyewear,
Mhm.
accessories, and so on.
Right.
So there is also a lot of cross pollination that takes place across there.
Absolutely.
Having said that, craftsmanship is a different, take. For there, I think the rich heritage of our country's karigari and the way jewelry gets made, whether in Jaipur or Gujarat or Bengal or
Mhm.
Hyderabad or
Right.
the south
Mhm.
or in Surat and Rajkot and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
There is a lot of karigari sitting there, a lot of techniques.
Mhm.
So what our design team and our product development team have done over time is to bring alive those karigaris and techniques.
Mhm.
So when we design our collections, we try to ensure that there is a fusion of different techniques from different parts of the country, so that
Right.
we create something totally unique.
Right.
So, so there is trends, there is craftsmanship, and then there's customers. I think all of it kind of comes together as an alchemy. And we have
Absolutely.
different sets of people who are working on all of that, especially on the craftsmanship and techniques. we have a fairly large network of um, suppliers, some of them dedicated to us, some of them whom we have developed over time,
Right.
as well as we also have manufacturing which we have created,
Right.
across different places. We have in Hosur, we have in Pantnagar, we've set up a new product development center in Bombay.
All right.
We have manufacturing in Kolkata
Okay.
at Ankurhat,
Mm-hmm.
and we are hoping to be able to also do a little bit more manufacturing as we go forward, maybe directly or through our partners.
All
So
right.
that then gives us access to a very rich and diverse set of karigars. Um we are working with about 15,000 karigars for Tanishq. Within that, there may be about 1,000 plus head karigars, as known in the industry. These are the real master craftsmen
Master documents.
with whom we work with. So
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of investment, if I may say, in design,
Mm-hmm.
in research, as
Mm-hmm.
well as in terms of new product development and manufacturing,
Mm-hmm.
which actually gives us this ability.
Yeah. It was lovely, lovely knowing those facts, sir. So Tanish as a brand stands true to feminism, but how do you want to inculcate man through your designs?
Yeah, right. We have spoken to and for the protagonist, that is this progressive yet rooted woman,
Mm-hmm.
who's both a torchbearer of the culture, but also a change agent because she's
Right.
changing and she's changing society. So
Yes.
Tanishq truly represents, speaks to, and for this protagonist, the Tanishq woman, as we call. Now the man, and of course we excite her with designs, etc.
Right.
Now, before I go to the designs for man, I think uh, men have been actually one of the biggest, let's say, evangelists for Tanishq. When we look at the journey of a customer and a family household,
Mm-hmm.
it is the men folk who have been initially the biggest evangelists. The reason being, they think about purity, they think about trust. Not that women don't, but men tend to think a little bit more about that than the design, right? Women
True. Yeah.
finally are going to wear the product and adorn it, but the man feels I
Yeah.
have to spend this money,
The
so
value is right, and the investment
there's a
part.
stored value in the investment. So the man thinks of purity, trust,
Mm-hmm.
exchange value,
Mm-hmm.
even the diamond caratage. Is it real? Is it authentic?
Right.
Is it natural? Nowadays, is it natural or lab grown? There are so many, and besides all the C's. So the man actually, and we find that uh, inherently men's trust in the Tata name
Mm-hmm.
plays a very, very strong role as well. So
Okay.
men have been our biggest, and even if they just accompany the woman and have that lovely cup of coffee
Mm-hmm.
in the store,
Mm-hmm.
they are pretty much an integral part of the decision making. Virtually I think every jeweler sees that a woman very rarely comes alone. She'll come with
Yes.
somebody from the family, and the male will also be there, not just for the credit card, but
Mhm.
also for the
Of course.
it's a pleasurable buying
Pleasure.
experience.
Yes.
So we do take care of the man from the point of view of hospitality, etc. We have products, of course, for men.
Mm-hmm.
They love to have chains and kadas and rings. There are
Right.
the traditional products,
Mm-hmm.
which are also what I would call religious products. Their faith, they'll have the special stones and they'll have the engravings. But we have actually got designs on men as well. So we have launched a few years ago a product line called Avir,
Okay.
and more recently, we actually have infused a little bit more investment and life in it.
Mm-hmm.
So Avir is really targeting mostly a more modern customer, not a traditional customer,
Okay.
uh, a more evolved. If the Tanishq buyer as a woman is the progressive and rooted woman,
Mm-hmm.
the husband of that woman is really, really a much more open-minded,
Right.
evolved,
Yes.
style-conscious
Mm-hmm.
man. He's a person who he may be having traditional tastes or he may be having modern tastes, but
Right.
his thinking is more modern.
Right.
He is certainly driven by design and
Mm-hmm.
styling and adornment as opposed to investment.
Right.
And the entire Avir product line, which is now a sub brand of sorts,
Mm-hmm.
is evolved into a full-fledged collection, and not just a collection, multiple collections within the So we are now started doing actively design and development for Avir
All
as
right.
part of a regular calendar, and this is visible in most of our stores. At least 200-300 stores have got an Avir counter
All right.
with separate from the traditional gold jewelry which they may be buying, which may be chains and I said
Yeah.
some kadas which are traditional products, etc.
Correct.
So
Correct.
this is something which is very exciting because we are seeing very good traction,
Okay.
at least in the not just in the top towns, even in the next level towns. So if you ask me, the top 30, 40 towns is seeing fantastic traction for
Okay.
Avir,
All right.
and we are very enthused by it. So we expect to give it more fuel as
Mm,
we go forward.
lovely. Sir, sustainability has been increasing value in the gold industry. Are you
Yeah.
implementing the measures? If yes, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah. So to me, sustainability has got many dimensions. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
There is something to do with the planet. There is
Mm-hmm.
something to do with people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there is something to do with maybe again related to planet, but in terms of the authenticity of the material that
Mm,
flows in.
right.
Let me start with the simplest one:
Mm-hmm.
authenticity. Purity is good, but gold, is it coming from the right mines and right sources,
Mm-hmm.
where there is no human exploitation? So we use only LBMA gold, which
Okay.
also certifies the kind of mines where gold is getting made from. I was
Right.
very happy to hear World Gold Council announced that they are going to be able to give full visibility of all the
Yes.
mines, so that would strengthen. But as a surrogate, we've been using LBMA gold only.
Okay.
And we also do a lot of recycling of gold. So close to 40% of the gold that we consume
All right.
is recycled gold from customer gold, which comes in gold exchange and Tanishq exchange.
Right.
So, and we want to take that 40% to 50, 60% over a period of time so that we are consuming less freshly mined gold.
Right.
Yeah. The second area is diamonds. Where are the diamonds coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Are they conflict free? Is there traceability? So we work only with site holders. So we buy a lot of loose, since we manufacture, we buy a lot of loose diamonds, and we even supply to some of our vendor partners, and a
All right.
lot of it is also consumed in our own manufacturing.
All right.
So we actually source from only site holders
Mm-hmm.
uh, who have direct link with the miners, and whether it's De Beers or other miners.
Mm-hmm.
And those miners then are able to give a certification that this is coming from mines where there is no human exploitation. Or so
Yeah.
therefore we have, and we are also now trying to ensure, not trying, we are ensuring that we are checking every stone that we buy, not once but three times
Mm.
over,
Okay.
for whether it is natural or lab grown.
I've grown. Okay.
Because the equipment is more, we have invested a lot in it,
Mm-hmm.
with the latest equipment. We have also worked with our partners to ensure they invest. So we source, we
Mm-hmm.
check, and when they make, they also check. And then finally, when it comes back into our system as a finished jewelry, again we check
Okay.
before we send it out to the store. So there are three
Yes,
checkpoints.
points.
Uh,
All right.
you know, so we have spent a lot of time and energy to ensure every single stone is checked.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have invested in, when sometimes the stone is, it says refer, it
Mm.
doesn't come out as it's very sure that it's lab grown, and so it goes as a reference. We
Right.
have now invested in the Raman spectroscope, which is what De Beers or some of the other labs will use,
Mm-hmm.
and we have it in multiple places in our system where we ourselves do the reference check. And and if we are still under doubt, we may send it out to an expert. So that's the second piece, to ensure conflict free diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
The third piece, coming to people, which is related to both diamonds as well as
Good.
where the manufacturing takes place. We have a very elaborate framework, a 4P framework for all our vendor partners.
Mm-hmm.
We work with about 80, 90 key partners in jewelry, and maybe another uh, 8, 10 key partners in diamond sourcing. So we have ensured that across these 100 vendor partners,
Mm-hmm.
they all are graded on a 4P framework.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, people, process, place, and planet.
All right.
So on all these aspects, they have to ensure they follow a rigorous protocol,
Mm-hmm.
that you're not damaging the planet. The place is ergonomically good, clean, hygienic. We
Mm-hmm.
have ensured that there's a certain way in which jewelry gets made. If you see how jewelry gets made traditionally versus how it gets made in a Tanishq unit,
Okay.
it is completely different. They are seated, they are uniform, they are seated, not on the ground. It's a temperature controlled environment.
Right.
Pollution is not there. They work through the microscopes. A lot of work has gone in evolving. So I'll be happy to report that 98% of our partners are now standard, which is cottage, basic, standard, world class. So
Okay.
on this 4 point scale, we have
Mm-hmm.
moved all our partners to standard,
Standard.
and some of them hopefully will become world class
Oh, lovely.
along using this 4P framework. So this
Oh.
has been the efforts of the last, I would say, at least 4 to 5 years, and we can now report that that is done.
Mm-hmm.
This ensures there's no human exploitation of labor at all points, whether it is that small stone polishing unit in Saurashtra, or it is a big jewelry manufacturing, or it's a Karigar unit in Kolkata, wherever it is. So
Right.
these vendors are spread. Of course, our own units are world class. We would like to believe it's highly automated, a lot of modern manufacturing, etc. is used. We mostly make studded jewelry.
Right. All right.
The final piece on the planet I want to say is, as a company, we and as a division, we have invested in green energy as well as water recycling in a big way. So um, I think we are about our manufacturing, our own plants, 80% of the energy we use is from renewables.
Okay.
But in the next 2 years, we will be more than 100%. So which means we'll be feeding extra green energy into the grid.
Okay.
We have
Great.
already invested in solar and wind in a big way.
All right.
We have a 2 megawatt plant in Coimbatore, and we have another 1 megawatt coming up, etc. The
Mm-hmm.
other piece we have done being water positive. So currently we are, I think, about 60% of the water we consume is recycled
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
rainwater harvested. We have
Right.
now built a much larger cistern of 140,000 lakh liters or something like that. Yeah. So we have done that 1.4 crore liters
Mm-hmm.
in our manufacturing. So next year or year after, we should be water positive depending on the rains.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing we have been doing is we do a lot of tree plantation and creating Miyawaki forests.
Okay.
So Miyawaki forest is an urban forest. It's a
Right.
Japanese concept
Mm-hmm.
wherein in a small in as small as 1,000 square feet, you can create an urban
All right.
forest. And in our own plant, we have a Miyawaki forest at 6,500 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And we are also creating many more such in other places.
All
We
right.
also plant trees. So as a corporate entity, the jewelry division per se
Mm-hmm.
will be water positive, but we don't talk much about it
Mm-hmm.
because that's something that we do from a sustainability
Mm-hmm.
point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Mia, the brand, talks a little bit about it because it uses only 100% recycled gold
Okay.
and is wanting to also start using 100% recycled diamonds so
Okay.
that it becomes completely,
Mm-hmm.
a sustainable brand in that sense. But other brand, we don't talk about it. We've been doing this work, and
Mm-hmm.
this has led to the transformation of the jewelry industry
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of respect and love that we've got from karigars and partners across.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. Sir, I think Tanis is just not a mere jewelry brand. Rather, it's an institution in itself, with the kind of R&D is happening, and really, when it comes to the sustainability, you're really making it and possible scope that is available on a day-to-day basis with the people and the resources that you're using. How can we get a benefit out of it in terms of learning experience, so that the industry can take some go ahead from your experience and way forward?
We are very happy to share all the manufacturing processes. In fact, our partners are many of them are common to other players in the industry. So
Okay.
the learning is available. Some players have emulated us, and we are flattered with that.
Mhm.
But very happy for any jewelry forum or industry forum or
Mhm.
players to come across, have a look at what we do. We are more than happy to share the way we have gone about building this, whether it is this four. We would love it if every player were to do a 4P framework
Lovely.
of their responsible. Then, then we have, then the entire industry gets transformed, not just 15,000
Absolutely.
karigars, but, a million karigars get the benefit. We are seeing some of the organized players are beginning to put up their own plants and manufacturing in a way,
Right.
and they're doing a good job.
Mhm.
But it would be nice if many of the traders, the retailers who are not really into manufacturing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, can adopt some practices, whatever is in their scope of
Right.
work.
Okay.
Maybe buy from those partners who are doing it in this manner, etc. But we
Mhm.
are very happy to share in any forum, whether invited to our plant or we can
Right.
share what we've done
Okay.
when it comes to all these practices. More
All
than
right.
happy to share.
Lovely, sir. So we being a media and a responsible media for the industry, would love to collaborate with Tanish, trying to, be a platform where people can look up to and definitely increase from what they are today.
Please come over. Please, it's an open invitation. Come over to our plant. We'll be happy to walk you through.
Absolutely, sir. Now, so my next question to you is, while at the topic about the next generation, how does Tanish infuse Indian heritage and culture into their jewelry?
The next generation, by definition, looks at things very differently.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is jewelry, whether it is the use of jewelry. First of all, they look at jewelry more as not a stored value, but an adornment. It's something that they wear,
Mm-hmm.
on a not something that they keep in the locker.
Right.
So I think that's an important piece.
So, do you also release white papers, documents about the whole process that you do so that we can have
No,
a.
we don't, because we are doing it for ourselves. And but we are happy to share whatever. Yeah, but we do have we in our annual report. There's a fair amount of details about our sustainability efforts as a company,
All right.
and even some of this 4P framework and all the other things I mentioned is there in different sections. So it's public,
All
and
right.
we have a clear policy, which
All
is
right.
also there on our website.
All right. All
Okay,
right.
so there is enough public data available.
Yes.
Now, the piece I was saying on Gen X, so they look at things differently. They are looking at jewelry as a method of adornment as opposed to investment.
Mm-hmm.
Wear it every day or even for occasions as opposed to keep it in the locker.
Right.
Even their view of what wedding jewelry should be like
Mm-hmm.
is evolving and changing. It should be something which goes with the rest of their,
Yeah.
they're going to wear on that day.
Right.
What will they wear on a Sangeet versus what they'll wear on the
Mm-hmm.
actual marriage, and then what they'll wear in the reception, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So we do study Gen X, or more than Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z a lot. In fact, we have a brand called Mia which targets the Gen Z customer very
Right.
sharply, and it's for everyday adornment. We have Carrot Lane, which is also targeting a younger mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But Tanishq also, historically, Tanishq has, in a way, championed the democratization of studded jewelry from over the last 2.5 decades or so.
Mm-hmm.
Everyday diamonds, and so diamond studded jewelry has been a big part of the thrust
Okay.
that we have, that Tanishq has led. And
Mm-hmm.
today, besides Tanishq, we also have Mia and Carrot Lane. We also have Zoya, but Zoya is at the upper end, not to the Gen X or the Gen Y or Gen Z. It's a little more older consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one piece.
Right.
Now, how do we inculcate culture and heritage? See, culture and heritage is largely coming when it comes to festive buying, when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to occasions like weddings and maybe important events in their life,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. It could be a college graduation to a wedding to a festival to a light occasion like a housewarming or whatever. There are so many occasions where, and the best part is today, Indian wear is once again prominent.
Prominent. Yes.
Many brands have done a good job with that, and Indian wear is gained in prominence.
Mm-hmm.
It is considered as formal wear also.
Yes.
So we are doing a lot of designs. One is a lot of our design stories come from Indian heritage and craftsmanship
Mm-hmm.
in the first place. But it doesn't mean that we only make big and heavy pieces. We
Mm-hmm.
then interpret that story into lightweights. We interpret it into what we would call as something which you can wear every day.
Right.
So it's not only the elaborate and the heavy pieces, but also the smaller pieces which you can carry off. A
Mm-hmm.
younger person can carry off, just like a younger person might wear a much lighter ghagra choli for, let's say, a sister's wedding.
Absolutely.
So we need to be able to give her something which is also appropriate for her age and what she can carry off.
Right.
So we do a lot of design stories are targeting a wide spectrum of segments. The
Mm-hmm.
story is one,
Mm-hmm.
but the number of pieces and the way we populate it
Right.
is there. So whatever we do for the big ones, we also do for, and those are drawn from Indian heritage and culture.
Right.
The other big thing we do is we celebrate culture in a very progressive way. If you look at all our campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot to do with uh, we are taking pride in what we have as culture, but we are interpreting it for today.
Mm-hmm.
And we again show the woman in a very progressive
Yes.
lead protagonist. We are thinking on her behalf and almost reading her mind and
Mm.
resonating with what she's thinking.
Right.
So that I think connects, that draws the younger audience, the modern customer towards Tanishq because they see it's a brand for me.
Right.
It's an identity.
Yeah.
They are resonating with the identity of Tanishq, not just the designs of Tanishq.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a big piece which is happening, and that also happens in its own way for Mia and Carotlin. But there, the product strategy is sharply defined only for the younger audience.
All right.
But of course, in those places, a lot more is studied. 70 to 80% is studied. So it may or may not be entirely drawing. But let's say Mangal Sutra
Mm-hmm.
is an important part of our cultural heritage. It's there in Tanishq, it's there in Mia, it's there in Carotlin.
Yes.
The interpretation of the Mangal Sutra is thoda hatke
Yes.
in each of these brands.
Yes.
And I think that is maybe an example of how we have tried to,
Mm-hmm.
and we brought it alive in Tanishq as door. We
Okay.
say door, and there's a story behind door. Door is our product line for Mangal Sutras,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with gold or with studded or with unique design interpretations.
Mm-hmm.
Mia has Mia Sutra,
Okay.
and Carrot Lane has its own line of Mangal Sutras
All right.
with a lot more design innovation also thrown in.
All right.
Some of them are lightweight and different price points. So it's a way in which we have, or nose pins.
Mm-hmm.
Nose
Yeah.
pins is another classic part of the
Yes.
and the design language is different for each of these
Right.
brands. So there are unique ways to play upon with the
Mm.
psychographic and the profile of the, because younger generation is not all one type. There are,
Yeah.
it's
The
like saying youth is one segment, which
yes.
maybe 60% of India's population. You can't have one segment which is so wide. Each of them has different requirements.
Yes.
So in many ways, I think each of our brands is doing that very uniquely.
All right. So lab grown diamond is doing a lot of popularity in past 1 year. How do you foresee the market rising in India and global also? And how is Tanish responding to the lab grown diamonds?
So I think the industry is going, a little unsure of what's happening there in India,
Mm-hmm.
especially since a lot of the diamond manufacturing of or cutting polishing happens here,
Right.
natural as well as lab grown.
Absolutely.
98% of diamonds go through India, right?
Yes.
So US market, of course, has behaved in a particular way, and for a particular product line, which is the center stone wedding engagement bridal ring,
Mm-hmm.
right, which has gone the lab grown way, but not necessarily true in other parts of the jewelry that they sell.
Mm-hmm.
In India, I mean, as of now, we are not seeing too much inquiry for lab grown. In fact, we have not experienced anything like that. That
Mm-hmm.
people come, consumer is not asking for lab grown,
Right.
at least not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the worry that we have on lab grown is that the lab grown diamonds itself are dipping in price like crazy. In the last, I think, 12 to 18 months, prices have really gone south for lab grown.
Mm-hmm.
And they are available at less than 10% of the natural diamond product.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that that is not the end of the road
Mm-hmm.
because supply is
Gonna be
so much
yes.
huge that there is no dearth of supply. The diamond has traditionally retained value because supply is limited. It's a rare
Yes.
stone which is mined from the earth, and then it
Mm.
is the demand supply which has kept the prices of diamonds up and in a way steadily gone up over time. But
Yes.
with lab grown, you're taking away the rarity, and therefore the price, because it's a technology product, uh,
Right.
the prices are falling. And where is the bottom of that?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that even 250, $300 a carat is now comfortably available, and
Mm-hmm.
that is fall, and there is scope for further fall.
For the
If that happens, if that happens, then uh, there is a very good chance that people will treat it as a completely different product.
Yes.
It is a different product because the price is so different. It's
Mm-hmm.
like CZs are very different from diamonds.
Right.
Lab grown will be, the gap is so huge.
Yes.
So Tanishq is certainly in the precious jewelry space. So we are very clear that we will
Right.
stay focused on the natural diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't yet thought of lab grown. We are trying to understand what's happening, what is the dynamic of lab grown, and what is its potential impact on natural diamonds in terms of either pricing or
Mm-hmm.
demand and sentiment.
Right.
We are very carefully watching it. We have taken a small strategic stake in an American company called
Okay.
Great Heights,
All right.
who has a D2C brand, small brand called Clean Origin. They sell in the US market
Mm-hmm.
only lab grown.
All right.
And through that company, we are learning what's going on with the American market
Mm-hmm.
and the dynamics involved in that industry. So we are not really, it's like a ringside view of something going on somewhere so that we are aware of it. But
Mm-hmm.
in India, we are not yet seeing consumer demand, and we are on the other hand seeing a sharp reduction in prices.
Right.
And even in the American market, what I've seen is what I'm hearing and what I've been reading about as well as talking to people
Mm-hmm.
is that even the American retailer is now beginning to swing back towards natural because lab grown has shrunk the value
Mm-hmm.
because prices have come down. So earlier they were upgrading the customer to bigger carats to maintain the
Mm-hmm.
ticket size or average order value.
Right.
And now the price gap is so big, you can't upgrade so much.
Right.
So many of the biggest players have actually lost value, whether it's
Right.
Signet or Samsung. So they are now recalibrating.
Right.
So when I heard in the recent Hong Kong fair, also uh, the lab grown section was not particularly. So we don't know where this is going, to be honest, Amit.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, we are also observing things closely to understand,
Mm-hmm.
and we will figure out if it becomes a large enough consumer requirement. We are always following the consumer.
Yes, of
We are
course.
not trying to follow industry. So
Yes.
if it becomes a large consumer need, then we'll figure out what to do.
Ex-
But right now, Tanishq will remain purely in the natural space, is what I can say.
All right. All right. So Tanishq has seen showrooms in New Jersey, USA. Which other country that you are planning to have the brand Tanishq?
So we are there in UAE, we are there in Qatar,
Mm-hmm.
we are there in Oman,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, so Middle East region, there is a lot of thrust,
All
basically
right.
Indian diaspora. So
Okay.
Middle East and North America. Within North America, it's really US. We are there open in New Jersey, but a few more coming up in Dallas and
Mm-hmm.
in Dallas and Houston and
Mm-hmm.
Chicago and some Bay Area. And we are also doing a lot of exhibitions. So those are in the pipeline.
Right.
And we are doing also exhibitions in certain other cities and markets in the
Right.
US where Indian diaspora is strong.
Right.
So maybe that will be future pipeline.
Mm.
We have also tied up with a store in Singapore.
Right.
So right now it is really US, Middle East, and Singapore is just a recent tie-up.
Yes. 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 All right. So my question to you right now is: so the portrayal of Tanishq by Molen Loelintis is gorgeous. The Tanishq advertisement campaigns are curated around the designs, or the designs are curated around the campaigns.
I think it's neither. Huh? Not we curate, we design all our communication and products
Mhm.
around the customer's need.
Mhm.
The customer comes first. She
Right.
comes first,
Mhm.
and everything flows from there.
Mhm.
Yes, the lead time is longer to
Mhm.
create products. So based on that, the product calendar is, well ahead of time.
Right.
And thereafter the marketing campaigns. But it's the customer who inspires us, both our designs and our marketing.
Right.
We talk to a woman who's modern in her thinking.
Mhm.
We talk to somebody who's both inspired by our heritage and culture, but also
Right.
wanting to express it in her own way,
Right.
right? And some of those thoughts go into when we create a design and product calendar.
Right.
Typically, but the design calendar also looks at craftsmanship and other trends, etc. So
Mhm.
you can't separate the two. They happen at different timelines. The
Mm-hmm.
lead time for making products is certainly that much longer.
Right.
Around this time, we start finalizing the entire next year's product calendar.
Okay.
But the marketing calendar will start getting frozen little later.
Later.
But we know, okay, broadly, the strategic segments in which we are going to,
Mm.
that is broadly known.
All right.
So there's an infusion of one with the other. Having said that, certain campaigns are mostly about the brand, its identity, and so on and so forth. The products are incidental. And
Mm-hmm.
some campaigns are about showcasing a collection.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a mix of both, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It's not that every brand campaign is about showcasing a collection.
Right.
Not really.
Okay.
There's a good balance. If
Okay.
you look at some of our digital communication or even others, which are whether it's Mother's Day campaign or so many other things, they are really about the woman and the predicament she goes through. The
Right.
product is incidental.
That is true.
And then during Diwali, you're celebrating both the occasion as well as the
True.
a unique collection. Typically, people want to know what's new in Diwali. They want
That-
to see that.
Exactly.
With wedding, we celebrate the emotion, but we also celebrate collections. So
That's true.
recently, we launched the cross tie-up with Tarun Tailiani for
Mm-hmm.
Riva,
Yes.
Riva, Riva into Tarun Tailiani edit.
Right.
So that is clearly about a collection while reflecting a certain woman.
Mm-hmm.
But there are Riva campaigns where we have spoken about a jewel for every tradition or the emotion that a woman goes through when she's getting married,
Mm-hmm.
where the product is incidental.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good balance and mix, one informing the other,
Right.
and sometimes something taking the lead, sometimes something taking the lead. But it's always the customer is first.
That is so true, sir. So you are in the retail business and interacting with customers on daily basis from
Yeah.
across India and international. How do you foresee the kind of jewelry that will be trending in the current wedding or the celebrations, festives coming up in India?
See, the trends are now locked into all the collections that are going to come in. So in a way, but we continue to see interest in gold in a big way,
Mm-hmm.
uh, especially during festivals. We see a lot of color.
Mm-hmm.
People want more color stones,
Mm-hmm.
precious or non-precious
Right.
or semi-precious.
Mm-hmm.
People are looking. I mean, we are seeing a lot of continued interest in polki and glass kundan and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the third thing that we are seeing is a lot of layering. So women want products they can wear more easily rather than locker. So
Right.
lighter, but when they want to deck up a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
layering comes into play. So
Right.
layering has continued. So these are some enduring trends that we have been seeing in the last
Mm-hmm.
1.5 years, and I think they have become stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is also while I talked about lightweight etc. There's also a set of customer segment who's saying, "Give me the real thing, show me a collection which is inspired." So last year we launched a collection called Alekhya,
Mm-hmm.
which was inspired by the enameling work,
Mm-hmm.
which we are so good at. It's such a craft,
Yes.
and it really caught people's fancy. There was color in it, which was nothing to do with stones, but the
Right.
color came from the enameling,
Right.
and we could create both heavier pieces and lighter pieces. So
Right.
uh, different customer segments bought it. Some may have bought it for a wedding occasion or a festive, and some others for
Mm-hmm.
just
Right.
a light occasion.
Right,
So
sir.
yeah, some these are some of the trends that we are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, I think the trend for bigger ear pieces has also continuously been there for some time.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than make the statement with the neck piece, it's the earrings, which
All right.
earrings and a tail ring or something like that. So that's another
Ab-
trend that has been there
Mm-hmm.
with a certain segment of people.
All right. So, as I mentioned, from tomorrow, the Gems and Jewelry Domestic Council have started their exhibition, their Diwali exhibition specifically. How do you think this trade exhibition help the jewelers, the retailers in getting aligned with the trending jewelry for the season? And how
I guess I
SPBs
guess
are
it
important?
gives yeah. I guess for retailers who are either standalone or smaller chains, gives
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity to come and pick product which is just a month or so before the season really kicks in.
Right.
So it gives them an opportunity to pick up absolute the latest creations that
Right.
manufacturers have created, so it gives them that opportunity. So I think it's a very good opportunity
All right.
for jewelers. For us, we have to work well in advance because our collections are
Yeah.
determined ahead, and at
Right,
this
sir.
point, we are just simply receiving the bulk supply of
Mm-hmm.
all the protos that we have approved 2 months back
Okay.
or 1 month back.
Lovely.
So for us, it doesn't matter. It gives us a validation of what we had predicted as a trend versus what
Right.
others are doing. Sometimes they are also inspired by what we are doing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a mix of both. But I think it's a good forum for the industry and for the rest of the jewelers, who are not so much into manufacturing, they are into mostly the retailing of
Feeling
jewelry.
of it. Right. So one questions on behalf of the customers, since the young Gen Z and the younger generation people are inclined towards venturing into the buying of jewelry for their day-to-day affairs, what are the core aspects or the thing that they should keep in mind while buying a jewelry?
See, we are nobody to advise because they are younger generation is much more sure of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you need to ensure you're getting the right thing in terms of first and foremost purity and even diamonds. You should be sure that when somebody's telling you it's a natural diamond, it's a natural diamond
Right.
because the value difference is so huge. So
That's
there is a lot of worry in the industry that our diamonds getting mixed,
mm-hmm.
whether it's lab grown with naturals. So does the retailer have the wherewithal to ascertain that
Mm-hmm.
and to ensure, because it's very difficult to make out between
Absolutely.
lab grown and natural.
Yes. Yes.
It requires a very deep expertise and some serious equipment,
Right.
okay, to check that out. So I think that's the first thing the young whoever is buying should think of when they're buying. So
Mm-hmm.
is it a trusted name where
Right.
they're sure that they have their systems in place?
Right.
The second piece, of course, is are they design and thought leaders or are they merely following design? So if you want to be unique and express yourself uniquely,
Mm-hmm.
are you, are you going with the thought leader and design leader, or
Mm-hmm.
are you just aping a trend? Depends. Of course, people may want to
Right.
ape a trend, which is fine. That's also okay. But
Mm-hmm.
if your objective is to come out and be
Right.
unique, that's there. The third one, of course, is does it express me?
Mm-hmm.
That piece of jewelry should be a self expression.
That is
It is
true.
not what others are wearing, therefore I will wear.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
You know, how
Yes.
is it me? I
Mm-hmm.
think that's true for fashion, that's true for style, that's true for clothes,
Absolutely.
that's true for footwear,
Yeah.
anything that we adorn.
Right.
So that's the ultimate test
Yes. Absolutely.
uh, that people will put. So yeah, these are two, three things I'm sure.
Thank you, sir. I think this is definitely going to help the consumers who are listening to this podcast in future. Well, with this, we come to an end of this interactive session, sir. It was lovely talking to you and knowing about the brand much better. We, on behalf of SVAR, wish you and your entire team all the success.
Thank you and wish you the same.
Thank you so much.